Hi there, Sandra here from the Schwowin's Nest. Thank you so much for joining me today. My first project is going to be using this regular strainer. It's an everyday kitchen item that you can buy at any dollar store. And I thought it would be a really fun idea to paint it a different color and maybe add some legs to it. I'm starting off by painting it with my DIY chalk paint, but I ended up taking it outside and giving it a couple of coats of white spray paint. The chalk paint just didn't cover really well. I also found these cool dog toys, and I don't have a dog, but look at the wood on these. I immediately thought of riser legs. With summer just about on the way, I decided that it's time to break out my Serenity Blue chalk paint from Rust-Oleum. I love coastal farmhouse decor, and I thought these would look absolutely fabulous painted this color. So I'm going to give them a couple of coats and then set them aside to dry. Here you can see that the strainer has some really good white paint on it, and that came from the spray paint. Now I needed a way to attach these dog toy pieces of wood to the strainer. So I've pulled out my little furniture tacks here, and I'm just going to create a little bit of a hole to get me started with the hammer, and then I'll be able to push them through the strainer and right into the legs. I'm going to use a clothespin and a makeup sponge to apply some of the blue chalk paint all around the rim of the strainer and along the handles as well. I also needed to add a couple of more pins to each of the wood pieces, and I just tapped them in with my hammer. It did need a little bit of extra support. I also then added some hot glue at the bottom to make sure they wouldn't move. I gave the little buttons a couple of coats of the blue chalk paint, and I think this turned out pretty sweet. Today's video is part of the We're in Lockdown open collaboration hosted by Lisa and Company, Domestic Diva DIY, Simple Yet Chic, and myself, Sandra from the Schwowin's Nest. We asked all of our YouTube creator friends to join us to use dollar store non-craft items to create home decor DIYs. There's going to be an awesome playlist that you're not going to want to miss. Make sure you head down to my description box and click on that link. I'll have it pinned in my comments too. For my second project, I'm using some of these burner liners. They're for the coil burners, so you don't mess up underneath. And I'm just going to cut them into some shapes, just really simple. I'm going to create a little flower. So I'm doing a couple of them with the smaller burner covers, and then I'm going to do one with the larger burner covers. I'm going to just kind of crinkle them and make them look a little bit more bent up. Then I'm going to use my hot glue to glue them in the shape of a flower. I'm going to use the larger pieces first, and then I'll cut some shorter pieces and make a few different layers. Once they're all created, I'm going to take them outside and give them a coat of silver hammered metal finish. To add a little bit more dimension, I'm going to use this Rust-Oleum high heat barbecue paint in flat black and just give them a few spritzes, and it will just add a little bit of extra color. I also cut out some random leaf shapes, and I'm going to use this eucalyptus green color from Martha Stewart Vintage Chalk Paints. And I'm going to just pounce on them just to give them a little bit of color, but I do want some of that silver showing through. These are some metal reusable straws. They were at my Dollarama store. I'm not sure if Dollar Tree carries any of these. What I'm going to do is take some small little dowels. Of course, these are craft items, so I am adding a little bit of craft stuff from my stash. And I'm just going to use the hot glue and glue the dowel right into the end of the straw. I'm going to make multiple different lengths because these are going to become the stems of my flowers. I'm going to use the high heat black spray paint for the stems. Next, I'm going to take these cedar balls. Now, if you're not sure what cedar balls are, they're things that you can put in your closets, in your chests, anywhere, your armoire where you have clothing that maybe you don't use very often and you want to keep it nice and fresh. These are a substitute for the old mothballs that we used to have that really smelled horrible. Anyhow, these are the wrong color. They're wood, but I'm going to just use this little sponge brush again and give them a coat of the eucalyptus green chalk paint. I'm going to use this garden fence as a backdrop for my flowers. I'm going to remove those curly cues up at the top and then bend the bottom pieces around a little bit. This wire isn't that thick, so the side cutters work great. And then I'm just using some needle nose pliers to bend the bottoms into the shape I want. Here are the straws and the dowels. I've got them laid out in the pattern that I want to use for my flowers, and I'm just going to attach them with some hot glue. Using some hot glue, I'm going to attach the little cedar balls right inside of the flower. I did use two tiny little smaller beads for the little flowers that I made. I already planned out where I want all my flowers to go, and I will just apply them with some hot glue. I also planned out where I wanted the leaves to go, so I just used some hot glue to place them down. Everything's sticking really well just with the hot glue. This would look amazing outside on your deck or patio, but I think because I'm just using hot glue, I'll probably leave it indoors and use it as a really pretty summer decoration for the season. Project number 3 is using these plastic plates. They come in a pack of 10, and I'm going to use 6 of them for this project. I'm going to glue them together just with hot glue. So all of the small ones will be glued together, and then all of the large ones will be glued together, and that will create one big plate. If you're coming over from someone else's channel, welcome. I'm so glad you're here. Using the cedar balls again, I'm going to glue them all along the bottom of the small plates. This is going to become the base for the tray. Of course, they weren't equal in amounts. I was not able to fit a whole bead on the last little space there, so I'm just taking my little saw and I'm going to cut a bead on either side just to make it fit. I painted both of these with a couple of coats of my DIY white chalk paint. Then I ended up spraying the bottom portion, the small one with the beads, in the flat black because I wanted to have some contrast between the two pieces. So here's the black bottom, the small plates with the beads. I've also already added some black texture paint, which is black paint with some baking soda. And now I'm going to mix up the same concoction for my plate. I'm just using a spoonful of my DIY chalk paint in white, and then I'm going to sprinkle a little bit of baking soda in, mix it up, and then check it if I need more. It's always better to add little bits and stir it up until you get the look that you're going for. I just want it to be a little textured. I want to be able to see the baking soda in there. It kind of makes it look like cement or stone. I use this round chippy brush and a pouncing motion to apply this textured paint. You can brush it on as well, but I find if you use a rough brush and you pounce it on, you get even more texture. Now, for some reason, I didn't record the next few steps, but it was basically just hot gluing the white plate on top of the black, and then I distressed both of them with some white and black. I hope you enjoyed these outside the box decor items today and got some inspiration to be checking out some of the different aisles at the dollar stores to see what you can come up with. Thank you so much to Lisa from Lisa and Company for getting us all together. It was a lot of fun. If you like this video, please give me a thumbs up. That tells YouTube you enjoy my videos and they promote me more, which helps my channel grow. If you're new to my channel, please hit that subscribe button. I'm really close to 20,000 subscribers and I could really use your support. Thanks in advance. See you in the next one.